Hello and g'day. Today we're going to make these paper bag napkin booklets. It can be either this wide or this wide. I'm just going to use these narrow bags, and the reason I'm doing this is because one of our projects we made about 4 weeks ago, we were using paper bags. So my guess is you've all got some paper bags. You can have a paper bag with a gusset at the end or just the gussets at the side. It doesn't matter. And what we're also going to do is we're going to use, this one here looked pretty cool, paper napkins. And when we use the paper napkins, we're going to peel all the ply off to achieve this. So to start us off, I'm just going to coffee dye. You can coffee dye or tea dye. So I'll show you what I've done, but this time I'm using just a really thick syrupy coffee. So I've got my brush here, and I've picked this side because this has got the seal on it where they've made the bag up, and I'll use that side to put my paper napkin on. So I'll just colour it. I've just got my very quick and easy method of tea dyeing or coffee staining on the fly. I'll put that video below for you. It's a really handy one to use. So I'm going to do my base colour first, and then I'm going to put some extra puddles to get some more colour into this, because this will end up being the inside of the cover and the napkin will be the outside. So I'm just picking up some pools here. Now I'm just going to leave that to dry. And when that's dry, I'll be back and we'll do the next step. There they are, dry and got some lovely colours on them. I did do 2 layers of colour. The first colour, which is what you saw me paint, let that dry and then come back and dab some more pools of coffee on there to get that second little dark colouring outline. Let that dry, and this is now what I've got. So I can work with this. That is going to be the inside. So when I cover the outside with my napkin, that will be folded over and that will be the inside of my cover. So I'll just clear this up, put my little towel away, my tea dyeing on the fly little setup I've got here, and we'll get and put the napkin on the outside of the cover. So first off, you need to see how many ply is on the napkin, and if you pop on over to Tuesday Moriarty's YouTube channel, she will show you exactly how to do this method. Paper napkin transfer tutorial. You see here how she's using sticky tape to remove the 2 ply or 3 ply or however many ply is on your napkin. You need to remove that tissue paper, and you just end up with, you know, the printed layer. So go follow the paper napkin transfer tutorial that Tuesday Moriarty has already done. I don't need to do this again and show you. So I'll just put this on here and then I'll be back in a minute. There's just one thing I'll be sure and say. When you do pull your napkins apart, just be careful and make sure that you've got all the plies taken off. This one here is a 3 ply napkin. 2 very light sheets of just plain white paper. So there's 1, there's 2, and there was the 3rd sheet on top. That's what I mean by 3 ply. So all I want you to check for this method here, for this cover, is to have a piece of the plastic covering the width of your bag, your napkin, also covering the width of that, and that's all you need to do. Just make sure that it's where you want it to be, the design or the whatever your pattern needs to be. It doesn't need to cover the whole bag. We're not using this whole length. I'm only using from the center out. Okay, so there it is. Got my layers. They're ready to pull away. So this one here, I only need to just pull that plastic off because that bit is totally not needed. So I've pulled that away. This part here, again, because junk journaling is ideal for us not to be neat. We don't have to be neat. So I can actually just tear that away. I can do that, or I can put a ruler on it. Let me get a ruler and just use that as my guide. So I'm going to put my ruler on that end and that end and just give it a rip, because I don't want it to rip away from the bag. I only want it to rip on the edge. So I don't want it to get, a bit carried away and start ripping into here. And the plastic is very easy to get rid of. I'm pulling it down towards my table and sort of using the edge of the paper bag to get rid of it and just pulling that off. We've got that nice distressed edge. There's my inside, there's my outside. Now we can work out where. So if you want that to be the front of your cover, you would fold it there. If you want it there and you want to cut that off, you would fold it there. So you fold it wherever you would like it, because even if you cut that off there, we're still going to be able to use that on another project somewhere else. Now, before we do anything else, we need to take care of the folds in the bag. And these folds are the gussets. Now, you might also have a bag that's got a gusset at the end. And if you had a gusset at the end, you could glue that down before any of this even started. And I didn't mention that because my bag hasn't got a gusset at the bottom. So take care of that before you start, just by gluing all of this down. So we'll glue that down now. Now I'm using the Art Glitter Glue. This dries really fast and it holds very, very well. I've got a link in the description below if you want to have a look at where I got it from. Now at this stage, you can make this a cover or you can make it a page. So if you wanted to make it a page, you could almost make it a pocket page. So you could fold it there, cut it off there, and these ends would then become your pockets. So it could be a pocket page. So there's one idea that you could use this if you didn't want to make it a cover. So we'll do this one as a cover, and then I'll show you one, what it would look like as a pocket page. Now here's another technique I want to show you. This one I'm going to make it like a pocket page rather than a cover. So I've got two of just the top sheet of some napkin. I've got one piece here, and this piece here I've ripped, so I'm going to layer it. So instead of having it like that, because that is way too long, so I can have it that way and put it like that. To do it that way, I need to do it in two layers. So I need to put my plastic down first, which is on the first layer. I don't want any folds in your plastic because it's got to be laid flat. So I'll put that down roughly in the middle. I'm going to fold it about there. And I'll take that piece off there. You don't need too much plastic everywhere for this one. If you want it on an angle, place it how you want it. Then put your paper over and press that down. I don't need to do as much work on this first piece here because I'm going to be ironing a bit more on this one. Make sure that your cling wrap is not going to be exposed. Sit that over the top and iron it in place. If your cling wrap doesn't get right to the edge of the napkin here, I just glue it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'd rather it be under that napkin there than out this way and plastic showing on this napkin. I don't want plastic showing on this napkin. I'd rather use a little bit of glue. This is just taking that single layer technique one step further. It's like a collage. You can put as many layers as you like. And that's held down perfectly. Lift that up. And again, it's just a matter of taking this away from the edge. I'm tearing it down using the edge of my bag as like a ruler. And I'm taking the plastic with it this time. So it's just a little bit different to that first time I done it with the ruler. So grab both the plastic and the napkin and tear it down towards the table. So there we go. So we've got that layered look now. That looks quite smart. So then we just fold it over to where we want it. So I'll just clear this ironing section away and I'll be back in a second. We'll start off by cutting this one to size. So I'm just going to have it folded in half to where I want it. There. So I've folded that one in half and I'll also fold this one in half. Just a tip when you're folding in half, if you get a crease here when you try and lay that down, like this one here is going to do it, sort of. See how it's got that funny square or a bump there? And you try and push it down and it doesn't always behave right. So I'm going to work out where I want my fold line to be, sort of in the middle. So. And it's all scrunching up there and not behaving. Just grab your skewer or something like that and just push it in there and then use your finger and crease it. Turn it over to the other side. Do the same there and use this to pull it out and make it nice and flat. So you don't want any weird shapes going on there. You need that to be nice and flat. And I wouldn't run that across there real firm because you don't want to upset this very fine tissue paper that you've pressed on. So just give it a really gentle persuasion there to lay flat. Now this tissue here looks really cool and it is a napkin. So I felt we had to use that one. So we'll start off with this one. I'll work out how long I might want it. So you work out, okay, I might make this one quite narrow. So 4 inches is there. I think I'll try for 3.5. So I'll cut that around about there. I'm going to rip this bit here because I think it'll really match the top edge. So we'll do exactly the same on the other side. Just got to work out where that is. Put the ruler on it. Just check where it is. Make sure it's square at the top and the bottom and just gently rip that off. So that's given me a lovely little book cover that I can use now to just make into a note style booklet. So there's cover number 1. These I can use for something else. Cover number 2. Let's make this one a little bit wider. We'll make this one around about out here somewhere. We'll make it about 4 inches. And I'll rip that off. Use that for something else. Okay, find the same distance on here and rip that off as well. Right. Now this one here, I'm not going to make it an opening, so we'll glue that down. So it's just going to be a solid glued down cover. So put some glue on the insides there of your gussets. We'll do that first, and then some glue randomly inside your cover and all across the top edge here. See there? Just so that that can glue flat and be a little stiffer for the cover. Once you've put your napkins on, they're pretty quick and easy to make up. The front of this needed some more beans on it, so I just ripped this little bit off here and glued it on. But I should have used Mod Podge because this art glitter glue, it didn't disappear when it dried. Or I could have got the iron out again and put a tiny little bit of cling wrap under it and pressed it down. So I've cut the strips of my pages and I've folded them, and then I've trimmed them back to fit in my book. So this one here is the cover that I've glued together so that there'll be no pockets. So I'm just going to sew my pages in here, and this is just going to be a little blank journal, and I'm going to use this blue thread because I think that'll match very nicely. Well, it does match very nicely. This one here, I've swapped them around. I've decided to make this my pocket page for the inside of another book, and this one here I'm going to make now into a cover, because this one I think will lend itself more for a bigger page for a cover. To prepare the pages, all I've done is I've got an A4, so then I've cut them in half that way, and I've got 5 sheets here like this. Then I'm going to fold them so that I've got the centre of my book, because I don't know yet how long it's got to be. So I'm just going to fold it roughly how long I want my book. I normally would have cut my cover first like I have on this one. So cut your cover first, work out how wide you want your pages, and then just fold them all together, press them down, use a bone folder to crease them, get them nice and firm, and then that's ready to work out how wide you need to cut them. So to do that, I put them in my cover, and then I put a pencil mark here and here. Then I'll come back and I'll cut in about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch back this way, so that when my pages are inside my cover, you won't see the edges. And that will be like that. See that? So that's how I prepared my pages, and I'll prepare these pages exactly the same way once I've worked out how wide I'm going to cut this cover. I can use that as my guide because that is about the same. And I'm going to come back into about there because it was fairly wide. Cut them all the way through and go through a few passes. Don't try and cut them all in one go. So that fits in there, and you've just got that little space around the top, the bottom, and here on the edge. So we'll get these ready to sew in. So we've got 2 there to sew. We'll start by finding the middle. Get the middle of your book. You can use clips for this. I'll get some clips and show you how to do it with clips. I usually freehand, but it's always better for beginners to use clips, pegs, anything you've got. Make sure your pages are straight. You want them in the center. Clamp these here. Find the center. You can use a ruler, or you can just use your eye, whatever you're comfortable with. Come down the same amount, top and bottom. So you can have it close to the middle and have a stitch that's short, or you can have it closer to the ends and have a stitch a bit longer. So we've got our blue thread for this one. I'm going to go 2.5 times just to make sure I've got enough thread. I'm using a bookbinder's needle. It's a nice, strong, sturdy needle, and it's got a good size eye. Let's see if you can see that. Now, if you haven't got a pokey tool to be able to put the holes in your booklet, you can use your needle. So just hold your needle and push it through and use that for your pokey tool. Do the same on your top and bottom bit and just come out right on that fold line. This is where you need to be, right on that fold line. Find that mark there and come right out, push it through right on that fold line. So start by sewing from the inside out. Leave a tail and hold it. Come to the top or the bottom, doesn't matter, but let's go to the top. Through the top hole, back through to the inside of your book. Pull that through. Don't lose your tail. Make sure it just stays there. Miss the middle, go back up to the bottom and back out to the outside cover. Just pull it till it lays flat. Now, this one here, I'm going to get it out of my way so that I don't put the needle through the thread here. I'm going to turn it back around and I'm going to come back through this center hole again until I come back through the middle. I don't want to pierce this thread here. We're almost done. See how I've got both threads coming out on the same side? When I pull that one aside, I want to have one on one side and one on the other. So I'm going to bring the needle under the thread and bring it over to this side. Then I'm going to tighten this thread because it's too loose, but I'm not going to pull it that way. I'm going to pull it that way. So from the top and the bottom of the page, pull it nice and snug. I can take my needle off and I can cut my thread because it's too long to handle. I'm going to hold it and tie a double knot. You can tie one knot if you like, and you can leave some danglies there and put some charms on the end, or you can just cut it off so that it just hangs inside your book. The blue thread looks lovely with the coffee dyed paper or the tea dyed paper, whatever you're using, and there's your 2 stitches. And that's what I mean by how long you make these stitches is going to give you that nice look on the outside. So there's booklet number 1 all done using a paper bag and a napkin. These are beautiful little notebooks to put in your purse or in a junk journal or in some happy mail. And we'll do the same on this one. This one here, I'm going to use the chocolate brown. This is a polyester, it's a thread used by upholsterers. Same again, we'll go 2 and a bit. This thread I'm going to use 2 knots because being the upholstery thread, it can work its way loose. And I might just leave it a little bit longer in case I decide to hang something on it. Because we're making this one as a pocket at the front and the back, we'll put a thumb hole in it. I'm using an oval instead of a circle. You can certainly use your circle punch. So I'm just going to, I'm going to put a second piece of paper in there because I find that sometimes these punches don't like very thin paper. So a good tip to do is to put a second piece of paper in there to give it a little bit more of something to grab onto. Then you put that there, center it, and cut your hole. So now we've got a pocket on the inside of our booklet. We'll do the same on the back and line it up, center. So there's one with the cover glued down with no pocket, a bit sturdier. And this one, I've got a little pocket to be able to put something in it. All right, and of course we can keep on going and decorate these even more. So that's that one. Now this one here, I'm going to use as a page. So I'll grab something to put this in. All right, now I've got some little pages here for another notebook. So if I was going to put them in there, but I'd have to trim them up. They're all different pages. You don't have to have all your pages exactly the same. You can have all different types of papers and pages, being a junk journal. So we could put this as a page. All it is straight through. I put my thumb holes in either end. Put that in there. Make it as part of a page. Slip that in there. And if I had another cover for it, I could put that in there and trim them pages up, and that would be a part of a page. But it is a pocket page. Pretty cool, hey? So there you have it. That's a pretty cool way to use up some of those leftover paper bags that you might have bought a whole packet for to do one project. Turn them into little booklets just by coffee dyeing or tea dyeing one side of the bag and using a paper napkin on the other side. I'm Donna, thanks for watching and bye for now.